Hello from Wake Forest, North Carolina. I can tell you now that our system has worked well for 2 months in all kinds of weather around the country. And now that I finished shooting this video, it looks like it's going to be a 10-part series, not including parts 1A and B. In the last section, I'll talk about how well the system has performed up until now, and each part up until then will cover part of the installation. Part 1 started out pretty long, so I decided to make it into 2 separate videos. This part covers the preparation for installation of the solar panels, and part 1B covers putting them up onto the roof. So you don't have to watch these if you've already watched the first video. If you haven't watched the first video, then go ahead and start here, go to 1B and then part 2. But you might just want to watch the first minute or so of the first video, part 1, to get the introduction to this whole series. These are 2 full-sized house panels that I bought used from a man that was living out remotely. He actually was living off 3 panels, but I only have room for 2 of these on my roof. So I'm going to drill holes here, and I'm going to put them every couple feet. And also, he didn't have the MC4 connectors, so these are just cut off. I've taped them up to keep them from making sparks while I work on the panels. Putting residential panels on an RV comes with its own challenges, one of which was I wasn't sure what the best way to attach the panels was. Usually you use smaller 12-volt panels, and you just use four brackets are enough to hold it down. In fact, you want to use 4 because you don't use these kind of brackets, but you use some that have a swivel and you can tilt them up. I'm not going to tilt these up because there's just too much surface area for the wind to catch. But I found the answer on a video made by fellow YouTuber Scott Law. And he hasn't made a lot of videos, but he made one that was particularly helpful because he had panels this size that he used 8 of these Z brackets on. And they held on his for a couple of years, so I'm assuming they're going to work for me. I need to put the bracket as close as I can to the corner, and I don't want to hook it into this seam right here. So I want to put them right here. I've got to give them enough space so that I can both fit the bolt in here without hitting. And there's a channel in here so that I can't hit. So it has to be fairly close to here, but I also have to have this close enough so that I have room to drill in from above. So consequently, this is about how much space I'm going to want. And I'll show you in a second how I do that. I took this board and I used a drill bit to give me just a little bit more space on these particular panels. Since this panel's 77 inches long, if I put them every 2 feet, that gives me a pretty even spacing on both sides. So I'll just take a Sharpie after I get the bracket where I want it. I'll color in a hole. That's going to be the hole I'm going to drill. Okay, I want to measure my next hole 2 feet from this one. So I go from there 2 feet. I'm going to draw a mark with my Sharpie. And I'm going to use the same method to mark my hole for that one. I'm going to do so on around the other 4 corners and the 2 other middle spots. Got a little trick here for getting the hole started. It's pretty easy to drill through this aluminum, but it's always easier if you have a spot where your drill bit's not going to slip. So I just take a pointed screw, put it right in the middle of that hole, just make a little indentation. Then I'm going to take a small drill bit, I'll drill through with that. When I have that hole, I'm going to use that as a basis for my larger drill bit. When I'm drilling the hole, I make sure and have this board underneath, and then I don't drill all the way into the panel. It stops it part way. You can see a couple of spots where I drilled in. Just take this bit out here, put my bigger one in. And then that hole's done. Pretty easy to get these brackets on. Guys all ready to go? I plan on detailing everything that I had to do in order to get this to work. So hopefully, if your setup is similar, it'll be easy for you to follow the instructions. And you won't have to spend so much time scouring the internet to try to find the information that I did.